Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey, chatting some Falcons draft targets specifically today at the quarterback position, mostly because, there's one guy on this roster right now for Atlanta. That is Matt Ryan, who is already 35 years old, and simply put, despite Tom Brady playing forever, Matt Ryan's not going to be able to do the exact same thing. So the Falcons, as they've made pretty clear publicly, are going to search for a quarterback this offseason, be it via free agency or the draft, but they're picking number 4 overall. They could have potentially the number 2 or number 3 quarterback in their hands waiting for them in the NFL draft. So should the Falcons take one there? Type Y for yes in the comments or type in N for no. The way I view this class, what I think the Falcons do as well, is there are 3 main players, plus some other guys we'll mention, that are worth discussing as it relates to potential draft targets for the Falcons. That begins with Justin Fields, the quarterback from Ohio State. Now, he has impressed in his 2 years for the Buckeyes, and in a way it would be a bit of a homecoming of sorts here for Fields and for the Falcons, because he's originally from Georgia, of course. He checks the boxes, the 3 main boxes you search for in a prospect. He has the arm strength, he has the accuracy, and he has the athleticism. Those 3 things, very good reason to take a guy in the top 5. Now, he also tends to hold the ball too long. He wasn't asked nor forced to make a bunch of difficult reads and tight window throws. Now, part of that was the Ohio State offense in reality. Namely, all they really had to do was run a bunch of option routes, so it looks like he's throwing the ball for a long time. That's the design of the offense. It is 2 years for the Buckeyes before once he transferred there, because Jake Fromm played over him, which, yikes, Georgia. He's really good. Completion percentage went up from 67 to 70. Obviously, the total numbers went down in terms of yards and touchdowns because, guess what? He didn't play as many games in 2020. The interceptions also went up. His best game, I think, of his college career came against Clemson. His worst one actually came a couple weeks prior, Northwestern, and I think you could also throw in Indiana there. But if the Falcons are searching for a future at the quarterback position, Justin Fields makes a lot of sense if, of course, he's on the board at number 4. Let's go to Zack Wilson now, the BYU quarterback who is coming off a massive breakout season. And he's got 1 year of production. That's the only time he was good in college. And that's a bit of a red flag, along with the, I'm just going to bail from every clean pocket I want because I've got this awesome arm and I'm going to sling it way downfield. But much like Justin Fields, good accuracy, especially this year was borderline pinpoint, frankly. Great arm, quick release as well. He's got the athletic ability, despite what Roddy White might say. I like Zack Wilson a lot. His 2020 film is awesome. The numbers back that up. Over 73% completion, 3,000 plus yards, a couple hundred rushing yards, 43 scores to 3 interception. But that's also a very different guy than what we saw his first 2 years for BYU, where it wasn't bad necessarily, but you're not drafting the guy on the left to be a top 3, top 4, top 5 quarterback taken. Guy on the right, sure. So that 1 year wonder concern, I think, is very valid. And I think having some better play within structure is important. But the upside is certainly tantalizing. And speaking of upside, by the way, that's Trey Lance to a T. Now, he only played in 1 game this year in 2020, but you want to talk about the 3 A's that I mentioned: athletic ability, arm strength, and accuracy. He checks off those first 2 better than almost any quarterback in this year's draft class. I'd wonder if Trevor Lawrence has him beat maybe in one of them, but Lance has a cannon and he's a great athlete too. Now, he still needs some work with accuracy. In a way, he's kind of a smaller Cam Newton to an extent in terms of the way he's built. And he's going to face a major uptick in challenge in the NFL. But it was very clear at North Dakota State, Trey Lance was wildly better than everybody else out there on the field. Now, to be fair, he's faced maybe a dozen or a half dozen of NFL caliber players over his career. But the way that he ran the North Dakota State offense, and from everything I've heard, that from the planning perspective and the checks at the offensive line, more involved than your typical college quarterback, that's a big-time deal. As we should know by now, it's certainly a big deal to make sure that the mental side of it checks out and the interviews check out, and that's going to be a big factor there. I love Lance's fit, though, with a team like the Falcons. I would love to give him a year to sit behind Matt Ryan and help his adjustment and his learning curve coming from the FCS into the NFL. So pick a quarterback for me. Lance is not my best quarterback on this list. That's actually Justin Fields. But sitting a year behind Matt Ryan might actually be the best fit for him, given what Arthur Smith is probably going to want to do on offense. So pick a quarterback for me. F for Fields, L for Lance, or W for Wilson. Did want to at least mention a few more quarterbacks here. Mac Jones, who by all accounts had a special season for Alabama. I think he's steady. I think he's accurate. He's a good decision maker. Doesn't make that many bad mistakes. A good game manager. I've got concerns about his arm and his athletic ability. And when I'm trying to check off those three main boxes, I don't see it on the athletic ability side. I don't see it fully in the arm. He's not as good of a prospect as the previous three guys I just mentioned. He's my quarterback 5 pretty easily. If you want to take him mid to late round 1, okay, but I'd rather just take a Fields, a Wilson, or a Lance. Now, although this is focused mostly on the Falcons going quarterback in the top 5, I did want to mention some non-round 1 guys. 5 guys just to monitor if the Falcons want to try to win in this current Matt Ryan window. Kyle Trask from Florida, Kellen Mond from A&M, Davis Mills from Stanford, Jamie Newman from Wake Forest, and also kind of sort of Georgia, and then Ian Book from Notre Dame. Mond and Newman have that athletic ability and the arm that's intriguing. They're also really inconsistent. Davis Mills might be someone worth developing. I think Kyle Trask is kind of more of a high-end backup, a little bit too much like Mason Rudolph for me at times. And then Ian Book is purely a backup quarterback in the NFL.